the first challenge to Hector. So now again we've got Ajax and Hector going at it. Madman, here, come closer, trying to frighten Argives? Why waste your breath? No, it's not that we lack the skill in battle, it's just the brutal lash of Zeus that beats us down. It's again an interesting irony that in a Greek poem about Greek warriors, for most of the Iliad they get the ever-living snot kicked out of them, but they will always explain why that's happened because of Zeus. Zeus is allowing this to happen, and because Zeus is allowing it to happen, the Greeks can kind of go, well, okay. But in the end, the Greeks win. In the end, Achilles kills Hector and all of that. But the only reason, this isn't because the Greeks are bad warriors, it's because Zeus is allowing it. Your hopes, back now to Ajax taunting or speaking to Hector. Your hopes soar, I suppose, to gut and crush our ships. Well, we have strong arms, 2 arms to defend those ships, and long before that, your city, packed with people, will fall beneath our hands, plundered to rubble. And you, I say, the day dawns near, when off you run. At the end of the longest day, all of this is going to come to pass. You run and pray to Father Zeus and the other deathless gods to make your full-maned horses swifter than hawks, whipping dust from the plain to sweep you back to Troy. In other words, there will come here soon, quickly, as soon as this day is over, it's over for you. Clear on the right, and now we got another one of these signals. On the right it's good, on the left it's bad. Clear on the right, a bird winged past to seal those words, a soaring eagle swooping. Spirits high with the sign, the Argive armies cheered. But, bent on glory, Hector answered the giant Ajax taunt for taunt. Enough of your blustering threats, you clumsy ox. What loose talk, what rant. I wish I were as surely the son of storming Zeus for all my days. And noble Hera gave me birth. Interestingly, Hector says, I wish I was born of the gods. And I were prized as they prize Athena and Apollo, as surely as this day will bring your Argives' death down to the last man, and you will die with the rest. The ironies, of course, are dark here, right? And if you have the daring to stand against my heavy spear, its point will rip your soft, warm skin to shreds. Then you'll glut the dogs and birds of Troy with your fat and flesh, cut down by the beat ships, and loosing a savage yell. We think of Whitman's barbaric yop at the conclusion of Song of Myself. Whitman, who, by the way, the great American poet, would walk beside the sea, reciting aloud to the waves passages from the Iliad. So much did Whitman love Homer. And loosing a savage yell, Hector led the way, and his captains followed close with unearthly cries, and Trojan ranks behind them, crying shrill. But facing them, the Achaean ranks cried back, not forgetting their courage, braced hard for assault as the Trojans bravest charged, and roars from both armies struck the high, clear skies, the lightning world of Zeus. I think it's significant that this book ends with the name of Zeus, who is sitting again off to the north, and it will be Zeus who here in book 14 will be invited by the beautiful Hera, who has some charms that have been given to her by Aphrodite to keep Zeus out of the war through sex. Well, let's jump quickly to level 2 and level 3. Well, at 2A, obviously, courage is required in the struggle is an ongoing message of these books. How about this one, though? Sometimes this book suggests sometimes we need to be challenged to improve. Right? I mean, think about the way that at the beginning of the book, right, Chalcis as Poseidon will challenge the Greeks, especially the 2 Ajaxes, and Hector will, of course, challenge Paris. But there has to be a willing response on the part of the other side, right? Or the challenge becomes a nasty taunt, and then it can do damage, right? How about this one? There's always a need to reason, even in the middle of a battle. Right? This is what this was the whole comment that was being made to Hector by his pal. Of course, the other one, to remember that this is a religious text for the Greeks. The gods are always there, right? Always watching. And often they are the ones responsible, right, for whatever it is that's going on. At level 2B, well, I mean, there's a lot of symbols here, but the one that I'm going to I'm going to focus us on is actually Chalcis himself as Poseidon. That is to say, the divine inspiration that says, come on, you've got to do this. The irony is maybe the screaming at the end of book 13, and the idea that there's different kinds of screaming or yelling, right? There's the screaming of victory, and there's the screaming of pain that we're going to hear, for example, from Achilles when he loses Patroclus later. that is to say, screaming, somehow represents both sides of the life-death coin, doesn't it? At 3a, well, we mentioned the epic poem Beowulf, a poem as well about fighting. What is the best text for you to show the back and forth, the almost stalemate-like feeling of war? Two movies that do come to mind, Oliver Stone's Platoon and Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. Many of my students have said that some scenes in those two films, sobering scenes, show that just cacophony experience of war and battle. Of course, some of you may be playing video games will have some of that experience as well, although the obvious question is, do we have a glorification of that kind of fighting and killing, or rather a serious kind of treatment of it? At 3b, how about this one? What was a time in your life when someone challenged you to be better? Not to be bitter, but to be better, and it worked. What was a time it maybe didn't work? What was a time when maybe an adult in your life said, this is not good enough? I mean, I have sometimes students who will say, I hate it when I go home with all A's and one B, and the question is just about the B. And yet, what is so wrong with being challenged to be better? This book, 13, says, it's good. You need it. Because the minute that you're not being challenged is the minute that you begin to sit back by the ships and to not get involved in the contest and the struggle. Well, as I've said already, we now turn to book 13. Phagos will call it Hera outflanks Zeus, and of course she does that by getting him to sleep with her and then going to sleep, and it will be during that lull that then the Greeks will begin their ascendancy. Of course, all of this is taking us towards, finally, Patroclus deciding that if Achilles will not enter the war, he will. That will lead to his killing by Hector. And Hector's Aristeia will then come to an end, and we will begin to see Achilles' Aristeia. Thank you very much. We'll come back to book 14.